shocking. I guess we'll get to both, but let's start with Luka. What was your hype level on the way in, and has he lived up to that for you guys?
My hype level for Luka Doncic was extremely high, and it's based more on the accomplishments that he had overseas at the age that he had it. I don't understand how anybody could watch him and not notice the subtle strengths of his game. The fact that he's able physically to get where he wants to on the floor. He uses his shoulders so well when he's driving and creating space, backing up, finding that range that he needs, depending on whether or not the defender is bigger or smaller, and taking advantage of all these little things. Those are the subtle things in a guy's game as a rookie that if he's got all that, everything else is just gravy. Everything else he does as a rookie is just gravy on top of that.
Yeah, I look for flashes of brilliance in the first year. If you see that, you know it's going to be there as they mature. And that was brilliant against Houston, going on a personal 11-0 run, winning the game. That just has to make Donnie Nelson, Mark Cuban, and all of Dallas say, whoa, we got something again. They did it again. Dirk Nowitzki for tractor trailer. And then here they pulled this trade. Not quite as dramatic, but what a stud they have in Luka Doncic.
I remember being at Dallas Media Days and listening to the team sort of just say, well, you know, we've missed the playoffs in consecutive years, and if we could just get back to the playoffs, that would be great. And here they are on the rise, and the only reason there was excitement at Media Day was because of Luka Doncic.
Yep.
And Coach Carlisle said, you know, I saw him play in Europe, and I thought he would be great, but it wasn't until I saw him in person, and adding that skill and the fluidity of his game with his size at the point guard position is what really impressed him.
Yeah, and I think we maybe underestimated just how effective he'd be in the NBA based on our bias, that we always assume a guy who's playing in the EuroLeague or playing somewhere other than NBA doesn't have a skill set that you can manage to translate. The issue with that is he wasn't just playing over there. He was dominating over there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a guy at 19, he's already got 2 MVP trophies. He wasn't just toiling around over there developing. He was dominating the competition.
But you still got to see it on an NBA floor.
That's right.
We drafted Pau Gasol third in Memphis back in 2001. Chuck Daly, who was our consultant, may he rest in peace, came to the first practice, and Chuck, in 5 minutes, maybe it was 10, he said, best player on the floor.
Wow.
Best player on the floor was Pau Gasol. And same thing here. When you see him in context with the NBA athletes, with the speed, with the quickness, and you just see that it fits, and he's got his own special sauce that is going to be something to watch.
There's a rush without a panic. There's a smoothness to the European game. And just curious for you, Tom, when you're looking at these things and when you were making those decisions, what do you think translates well from the European game over to the NBA?
Well, maturity first. The physical maturity. They've been playing as professionals against men, so it's not as much of a leap. And then there's just the old school discipline of the way they've been trained. Going back to when Hubie Brown and his crew went over and taught the coaches in Europe how to coach, they have continued to do that. And they develop players in a club system, the way it happens in soccer. It's more of a club. You come up with your club. So they're just trained. Dirk Nowitzki, that whole group, Gasol, Nowitzki, all those guys that came through and dominated, they're doing it again. And it's just such solid fundamentals.
And how about this guy, Trae Young? You know, you look at the flip side of things, and you have an experience, and you have typical rookie mistakes, and you have turnovers and some poor decision making, and you think, wow, we have Luka, one's 19 and one's 20, but it seems like they're more like 10 years apart when you watch him play basketball.
Well, they really are in terms of high-level experience. You know, Trae Young, was a dominant force for Oklahoma in college, but it was for one season against competition that you really can't gauge what that college game is like to an elite level of basketball.
Until the tournament, you really don't know.
You don't see him consistently against that high level competition. The one thing I do like about Trae Young's game, and you talked about it, Tom, the flashes. He's had some flashes. Now it's going to be about what he learns from this rookie season. Does he get stronger? Does he take his work ethic to that next level to become the type of player he wants to be? The other thing I don't think anybody should overlook in this whole thing, though, is the fact that the Dallas Mavericks have been down this road before. They've taken an international player and brought him into their organization and learned how to bring him along.
That had to add to the comfort level.
Exactly.
When
You
Luka
got
first arrived.
Dirk there who's done it before. There's some institutional knowledge of how to help Luka Doncic adjust to the NBA game. that you simply have to have if you want him to take off the way he has so early in his career.
No, there's no doubt about that. So comfort level is everything. So if you're the Hawks and you're dealing with Trae Young, it seems like there definitely is no red light on the amount of shots that he's getting up per game. But his true shooting percentage is top 10 worst all time among high volume scorers. So at what point do you teach him some things, and or do you just let him keep going and hope that they fall?
You let him run right now, and takes are as good as makes in a way, just to get his rhythm and get his confidence and hopefully improve on his efficiency. You touched on some of the inefficiency. When you have a true shooting percentage that low, combined with a turnover rate as high as it is, it's just hard to win games. But when you're drafted in the top 5, you got to get a franchise pillar if you can. And in Doncic, you feel like you have a franchise pillar. It's early, but you just see it and you feel it for the reasons you said. I'm not sure. I think Trae Young's going to be a good NBA player. We need a great NBA player. I just don't know if he's a seminal player you can build everything around the way Steph Curry turned to be. And, of course, we heard all those comparisons, but when you look at those shooting percentages, not even close. Rookie year to rookie year, Steph was way ahead.
Yeah, not even close. All right, we're going to get to some more matchups. That was a great conversation on the rookies, guys, and I look forward to continuing that conversation, and we'll follow their statistics tonight and for the rest of the year like we promised. The Nets, or the Bucks and the Pacers.